How are you, my friend? It's been a long time, man.
Honestly, never better.
Great.
Never better. I mean, really, really happy with how things have been going lately for the band. At least, I'm
Yeah.
still worried about people's general health,
Yeah.
along with my own. But but anyway, no, it's been overwhelming. The response from people, you
Yeah.
know, just overwhelming. Couldn't be better.
Yeah. Oh, we love you out here, man. And we miss you. And it's great to have you back on the road and doing hip hop dance videos on TikTok and stuff like that.
You know, I picked up all kinds of new little hobbies along the way. Yeah, well, uh, it's funny because over that the course of the year, there were things that I rediscovered that were just great ways of trying to stay in shape or keep myself in some kind of state. You've got more stick stuff than I do. Your mug and your shirt and
Oh yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I've mentioned a few times to people that I got back into riding my bike, which I hadn't done for years, but it was great. And you get musical ideas when you're up there and stuff. And then in a hotel room like this, by the way, I'm just looking at the picture we have now. I'm glad I slept on the bus last night, so I just came in to kind of clean myself up.
Yeah.
This could be called Pillow Talk with Scott.
Saturday morning pillow talk.
Saturday morning pillow. There's a lot of pillows in this room. I just noticed that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I couldn't go home during some of the little few day breaks that we've had on the tour so far. I couldn't go home because of in Canada, there was mandatory quarantining up until the 5th of July. So I'd be staying in Nashville and, it was a good time to start practicing some dance videos. Well, some of the Styx people that send me various messages, they'd mentioned about TikTok and these dance things and all kinds of stuff. And I hope that's a cat on you, not a giant snake. That just
It is.
and
All the time.
he's back now. So yeah, I'm always looking for little ways to kind of exhaust myself physically so that I'm ready for the show. That's basically all it is, because there's a lot of breathing involved.
Yeah, no doubt. And I wanted to ask you too, you have to have a regimen. I see you guys and you're always so energetic. I mean, you're one of the most energetic frontmen out there for sure.
If you look at bands that have been able to withstand, the decades of touring, because the rigors of touring are rigorous, to say the least.
No doubt.
There's a lot of physical commitment that you have to make to it. So keeping yourself in some kind of shape, especially if you're a singer, there's a lot of breathing involved in a show, and we're a band that does a lot of singing, and basically it's not a bad idea to kind of keep yourself ready, for the demands of doing that on a daily basis.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of a lot of singing, man, this record, and let me give you a short introduction too. I am here with Lawrence Gowan. He is in his 22nd year, 22nd, I hope. Wow, something like
that. No, 22nd.
Wow, as keyboardist and sometimes lead vocalist of classic rock band Styx, of course. 12-time Juno Award nominee with 2 wins. We forget about that sometimes. That's great. Lawrence and Styx have just released their 17th studio album called Crash of the Crown on June 18th. Lawrence, man, this is fantastic. It's been way too long.
Great. Well, I have never had a chance to see your record collection. I see a lot of your photos, Scott, but your record collection is really just as impressive, I can tell you that.
Thank you. Yeah, this is only a portion too. I have some right here in front of me too. So yeah, my wife is a little, she's not crazy about it. We had to buy a house with an extra room to house all this stuff. So
well, never quite, what does George say? Never question your wife's taste. I mean, look who she married.
There you go. Let's talk about the record, man. Crash of the Crown. I have to talk about the cover. First and foremost, it is stunning. When I
It is.
first saw it, it's like, wow, this
There's,
is just beautiful.
isn't it? Yeah, there's the fellow named Todd Galapo at Universal Music, Universal Records. He's a tremendous artist, really in the what I call the tradition of great album artwork. There was Hypnosis came up with great covers, and
Hmm.
Hugh Syme, with all the Rush covers and all the other things that he's done,
Right.
uh, including the Gowan covers. Um,
Of course.
but Todd Galapo is another one of these phenomenal, just there's a cultural awareness that these kinds of artists have, where they can depict something that at once kind of reflects something about the music, something about where the world is today, and something about just an artistic expression that's very captivating and pulls you in, and you want to hear or see more. So that's quite a little concoction to be able to put together as an artist. And when he sent us the proposal for this cover, and it was before he'd really finished it, but he was kind of about 3/4 of the way there. We immediately said, "Oh God, yeah, keep going. This really somehow connects to the music on this record."
Mm.
Uh, you've got there's all kinds of ways that you can interpret it, so I don't want to kind of sully that for for people who kind of personalize it. But I can see there are so many songs on this record that almost all of them, quite honestly, hint at or basically encourage a spirit of renewal. And I think that the cover reflects that in its own way, with that hole in the middle that could be a void, but also through the void is this hopeful, better future. At least that's the way I see it. And so many of the songs allude to that uh, in a very direct way. Actually, they don't even allude to it. They very directly are about a spirit of renewal, particularly after a cataclysmic event. So I
Mm.
think a lot of people can relate to that right now, and I think the cover, in many ways, depicts that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
No doubt. And I mean, the white is just stunning, before, because you don't get to hear it. The first thing you see, I remember going record shopping, and you can't hear the record as it sits in the bin. So you
Right,
see the cover. And that
right.
was kind of the same thing here. The cover came out before I heard it, and it blew me away. And then I saw the old logo. Uh,
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah, that hasn't been around for quite a while.
Logo, yeah.
It was that, and this record is maybe one of the more progressive Styx records there is. Was it
Yeah.
intentional to bring back that logo and, that 70s progressive, that whole aura about the band?
When I joined the band in 1999, I, said to the guys right off the bat that the part of Styx that I was always most drawn to was the fact that they used progressive rock elements uh, successfully. They're really the first band I ever noticed outside of the UK to do progressive rock and make it work. There were bands, even in Toronto, there were bands that were trying it but weren't quite being successful with it, and were grappling with the form and how to make it palatable to a wider audience. Not just the
Right.
musician, because there's a lot of progressive rock that really is tailored to basically kind of impressing other musicians with their musicianship and with their experimentation. But it's another thing to try to do that and take people on the musical adventure that it's intending, and not lose them somewhere along the path. You know,
Right.
and
Right.
and I remember when I listened to Yes, Close to the Edge. That was the first really deep progressive piece of music I got into, where it was one side of an album, as you say, Scott, holding the cover and just trying to divulge how does this take me into this journey that we're about to go on.
Mhm.
And it became it's like almost like a talisman, or like that tactile experience of holding the cover was really part of keeping your attention focused on this music for the next you know, arbitrarily 40 minutes.
Right.
And, you know, I love that as an art form. So when we made The Mission and we made Crash to the Crown, it was that intention to give people an album experience, which is roughly about, you know, like I say, about 40 minutes of music with artwork that you can hold, or artwork if you want to look at it on your computer screen or whatever, something captivating enough to hold you for that period of time and not necessarily pull you into one hit single or another, because we don't live in that era anymore, but instead to keep you on this, to pull you into the mind of what the band is trying to convey.
Yeah.
So
And
the cover contributes to that.
and it was, you know, it's so successful. Yeah, it's great that you give that attention now, because so much is just, you know, digital. It's the artwork isn't really a thing, or, you know, liner notes and things like that. You
It-
give attention to that. That's
it's
so
a different.
special.
It is because that was part of the experience. I think we underplayed
Absolutely.
the ease and the convenience of digital downloading, and the fact that we can do our own programming now on our computers
Mhm.
is really, I don't want to be disparaging of that, because I think it is it's a wonderful thing, but it's not the whole thing. And
Right.
there's a form of entertainment that was really came about. I usually, we have this discussion. It was I think Revolver by the Beatles was actually the first full album concept album. Although it's not the concept's in your mind. You know, whenever they ask a band, is this a concept? The concept is in your mind. You're basically trying to put across where your thinking is at currently, and usually that links songs together in a pattern where other people can see themselves in that narrative. And I found that with Revolver, and then obviously with Sergeant Pepper, and then with the Rolling Stones doing their Satanic Majesties, and all of those albums began to have a cohesive line to them, arc to them all the way through. That and Hendrix with Are You Experienced? Those are records that were the beginning of full album statements, and then that led to in the '70s that was so embraced. And you know, look, it had there was the potential and the danger of it to become overblown, or sometimes to be kind of underplayed because too much attention went to one or two songs.
Right.
Finding just the right balance was such a was really the goal. And I mean, I remember in Toronto when I remember when Grand Illusion came out. I remember holding that cover there's a record store called Sam the Record Man, and you know, holding the cover, and you could basically go up to the front and say, "Do you have a copy of this open that I can listen to?"
Mhm.
And the cover often was the first thing that drew you in. It drew you into kind of going, "This is well done. This is capturing something that I want to find out about."
Right.
Unlike that piece on the wall back there.
Yes.
Not all that special, but at least it's color coordinated with my shirt, so that's good. And my hair.
There you go. Yes. Yes. And that's all planned, of course.
More stuff for pillow talk.
When you guys were writing the album, was there a discussion about, you know, and the other thing, these songs are, you know, opposite of what a normal progressive record is. These songs, the longest track is 4 minutes. That is not a progressive trait. Was there a discussion about keeping them brief, and was there a discussion about making this a 70s progressive record?
Well, making it a 70s progressive record is always high on that's at the top of the agenda. Okay, so there's that. But no, there were two ways of looking at it. One was we could have amalgamated or you know, combined several songs to make. So, for example, I wrote "Lost at Sea" almost to be part of "Coming Out the Other Side."
Right.
Okay, because I loved "Coming Out the Other Side" and how it went. And I thought that this should have a little prelude piece that's part of it. So I thought, well, "Lost," we'll make it that's just one segment of "Coming Out the Other Side." As those could have been part of that as well. You could have made that one long 8-minute piece, to my mind, anyway.
Right.
I don't know how Tommy and Will feel about it, but it was a little it ping ponged back and forth on our agenda. But then we were thinking we started thinking about side two of Abbey Road, how they were individual songs, but they could be very brief. You know, Sun King and
Mhm.
Mean Mr. Mustard and She Came In Through the Bathroom. These are very brief statements, but they do hang together. I'd say from because all the way through, they hang together as one kind of progressive piece of music that were one kind of the handoff to the next little piece is so seamless that you don't even know you're into the next song until you read the liner notes.
Yep.
And so the notion of saying, no, let's make them short little bites, I guess more tapas style.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to start using that more and more.
That's beautiful.
That easy kind of quick little entrees into this piece and this piece, and you're into the next song before you really even realize that you've gotten there. I think that was the right way to do it. And again, each song hints at some form of an idea of renewal. And I think that's where, for example, that's where we decided to take Same Stardust and Age of Entropy, which both were part of the recording sessions and as we were putting the album together, but we realized these kind of have their own little statement. And so let's put them on the Record Day EP, along with some classic songs from the past live, and keep Crash of the Crown as this 15 song, little tone poem or whatever you want to call it, cohesive album, and put it out that way.
Yeah, and that was beautiful, and not everybody got a chance to get that small record store day. Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, a lot of people did, which was I saw that on Facebook. Everybody's posting it and excited to get it, and that was fantastic to see. Will that possibly come out for the people who didn't get a chance to get one? Will there be another reissue of that? Maybe.
I suppose there will be. I suppose. I only say that because, both the Mission and Crash the Crown Styx, are now back with Universal Records, who have the whole catalog, and they have come up with a very, very pragmatic and very innovative plan as to how to, and they've executed it so well, as to how to keep the lifeblood of a band with the legacy of Styx, a band that's closing in on 50 years of existence as of next February, how to keep that relevant and how to promote those records. I have to give them great credit, because even with the Mission, the mandate was not, let's get a hit single and see how many records we can sell in the first 6 weeks. It wasn't that at all. They said, look, you've got 2 years of touring on this album at least, and we will continue to promote this as an album and see where it leads us. And 1 year into it, it led to us being able to do a couple of nights in Las Vegas where we played the record in its entirety, and then one in Boston. And then the week of the pandemic, March of 2020, we were about to do the Beacon Theater on Broadway and play the Mission in its entirety. And it was on the way to that show that I got out at the airport in Toronto, and our tour manager called and said, go home. We're probably going to be off for the next 3 or 4 weeks because this, and we really looked at it like the rest of the world. We thought maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And then, 16 months later, we walk on stage in Augustine, Florida. And it's like, wow, the world is a different place.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Had to feel good though, to look out there and
it was
back
such
home,
it was such a euphoric feeling for us and for the audience. And there was just this great emotional embrace, let's call it that, that has really taken place at every show that we've done, in the last couple of months now. And let's hope it continues and people stay well.
Yeah, definitely. I listen to this record and I hear so many voices. I hear those incredible harmonies. I mean, they're better than they've ever been. It's just incredible. But I hear your lead, I hear Tommy, of course, JY's in there. And there's some of that snowblind kind of thing where there's duets. It's not just you on a song, or it's just Tommy. So that is really cool. How do you decide the vocal duties? Because a lot of them are written by Tommy or Tommy and Will, but you're singing them. There's a decision there.
It is funny, because so for example, I was not part of the writing of Reveries, one of my favorite pieces, but I saw myself in the lyrics. I just looked at it and I went, I like this song. And my own little misinterpretation of what it was, which often can be even, anyone's. So often someone will come up and tell me what a song is about that I may have been written or been part of the writing of, and it'll be completely off what the intention was, and quite often better.
Yeah, there you go. And that's okay.
That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. That's what a good piece of art should do. That it should evoke something from people that even the artist may have, inadvertently intended, or maybe that was the underlying. Who knows? Anyway, too deep. The Reveries, I got to sing that. The front of Crash to the Crown, that see the waypoint on that distant blue horizon. So I wrote that part over top of the riff, but I said, I want JY to sing this. This is like a Snowblindish thing, and I don't have the same resonance that he has in his low register. I mean, I do early in the morning, but as the day goes on, the voice goes up. So, and then the middle section, Tommy and I and Will kind of wrote, and I thought, Tommy sounds better on the lead of this part. And then the last part was Tommy and Will part. I'm speaking of the one song, Crash of the Crown. Right. But they went, well, you sing this part. So it is funny how now it can be a different writer to who actually sings it, because the way that the song, the voice and the register and the intonation and the emotional connection to it can make more sense if someone else sings it. So that's a great point to come to in a band, when you can really in a kind of a selfless way move that around and make it so that the whole cast is kind of represented.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes a band like Styx a great band, is that you recognize that emotional attachment from a specific person. It doesn't matter who wrote it, or it's that recognition of that makes it super special, and you notice that. That's cool.
Do you know what I think has caused that, Scott? Yeah, and why, for example, we were in the early days of my being in the band with Cyclorama. We hadn't quite arrived at this yet, but on these last two albums, we've played so many live shows. We've played over 2,000 easily. Live shows together, and we are so accustomed to knowing that the spotlight moves around on stage. Sometimes the spotlight's entirely on Todd, or basically you can see a Styx show and you can, depending on where you are, you get a completely different camera angle and a completely different set of entertaining features. And I speak of myself because I've often said that from my pivoting piano, I sometimes turn around and go, God, these guys are really good. And then realize, oh yeah, I'm in the band too. So that's how entertaining the show can be. You can focus on Ricky going all over the place, or JY holding forth, and how commanding he is when he moves forward on the stage. Obviously, Tommy Shaw is the ultimate performer. Todd, then Chuck comes walking out, and you have the legacy of the band present. So in making these records, those were factors that were factored into the overall say menu, so to speak, again.
Right.
Using a lot of
that tapas menu
terms. But it is that blending of all of these things where the spotlight gets passed around really, really rapidly and in a very kind of entertaining way that keeps us on our toes and keeps the whole thing engaging.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. That's why I've seen you almost 50, 60 times. It's the most entertaining and solid show. Always solid. You guys are so well rehearsed and so tight. It's incredible.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, completely. I'd have to address Will on stage. You're not the new guy anymore. How about that? It took 22 years, but hey.
I love that description of new guy. I really want anytime somebody says the word new with me involved now, it's like, oh, thank you. No, but the good one was when you were doing a little intro there, you said 22 year, member of Styx, but I thought 22 year, I thought, oh my God, skin creams are definitely working today. 22-year-old rapidly aging keyboard player. Anyway, Will is the new guy, so you wanted to talk about that. Well,
there's a lot of rumor. Everybody's talking. They see him on stage, and they think, JY, has some personal things going on. We know that, and he's getting older. He's the eldest in the band, I believe. So, there's talk of him retiring, and that's why Will is kind of doing that thing.
Here's what it is as of today. No, it's I think Chuck might be the elder statesman by a few
right.
I'm not sure. I'm not positive, but anyway, no, there is no there's no whispering or any talk of anyone in the band retiring. And as far as JY goes, he definitely does not want to, and there are no plans to. But his life is he has to navigate a lot of difficult things in his life, and that happens in all of our lives as we get older. That's just part of the equation of the human existence on planet Earth.
Yep.
In all of the time, JY stood on the stage for every Styx show from the very beginning of the band, all but 2 shows about 12 years ago. Boy, is it even longer than that now? It might be 13 years ago. Because he had some challenges at home that needed his immediate attention.
Right.
That's one factor. The other factor is this. Will Evankovich had worked with Tommy for over 10 years. They had worked on a Jack Blades thing together, and they worked on Tommy's solo record. They have a great musical simpatico there. And when I worked with him as a producer on The Mission, I realized, this is a kindred spirit in every way. And kind of great that he's the producer, because we need a referee say who's on the field at what time and why, and it keeps us it keeps the camaraderie. It's never my fault if he decided it was going to be a synth solo instead of a drum solo, so, that kind of thing. Why don't we have both?
There you go.
That's what happened to Red Storm. But anyway, but Will, even his playing began to kind of morph into part of the fabric in the mission of what the band is. And as a writing partner, again, great. But when we did the Mission shows, the ones in Las Vegas, he came on stage with us because there were integral parts that needed to be in there and certain samples I had to fire, and he knew where all those things were intimately, and I had my hands full. And he became part of that, and we've just noticed, this works really well with having him on stage. And then he played the hits set that we did after that, and he knew all that stuff as well. And we listened back to it, and we thought, wow, instead of this sounding more cluttered, it actually sounds more cohesive, because he's adding all those little bits that sometimes can go by the wayside in a live performance. And as we were making Crash to the Crown, it's partially the realities of what we just discussed with the band members as we getting older. But more than that, it was a musical decision that he fit with the equation of where the band is right now. He fits with where we are in our Crash of the Crown era, which we are in. And it was a perfect time to do it after such a long hiatus as that, to bring him on stage. And we love having him. So that's just who he is, part of the band.
That's cool. Yeah, he's such a talented guy.
Oh, ridiculously talented. So, by the way, the bus is leaving.
Is it
Gig
okay?
today in 6 minutes. So,
Okay.
anything we haven't touched on, Scott, that we should?
Yeah, I do want to touch on the solo record. Your solo record. A couple of years ago, you talked about it was done, right? And now over the pandemic, I thought, okay, it's not interfering with a Styx release.
Right.
Where is it?
Well, what's wrong with you? Are you spending that much time on your bicycle? No, that record is finished, but I'll go as far as to say this. It's a conceptual piece that needs to find the right time to promote it where I'm not working on Styx stuff. Had we not been working on Crash of the Crown, I would have pushed hard on that solo thing. Had it not been for all the live streaming stuff I did, because I wanted to stay fit as a performer, and so I'd put out a lot of these streams, one every week or every 2 weeks or so. I'd put something out where I'd go back into my solo days, my catalog there, and bring songs out one at a time. And then we played entire concerts. I think you might have seen one I did with my son, in a theater where we had 8 robotic cameras. And that was, so I really had my hands full in a lot of ways that people don't know. So it sounds like I'm making an excuse as to why I didn't put that solo record out, but
a little.
These are good excuses. I haven't even got to a dog ate my homework. I haven't even got to that one yet. But no, it will come out. We will. What was the Orson Welles? We will sell no wine before it's time. It's just not time yet.
Yeah, I just don't want it to turn into that lost Gowan album that's somewhere in a vault that we never hear.
Scott, there's stuff in vaults of every band that comes pouring forth, usually once the person is off planet Earth. It's not inconceivable that couldn't happen. I mean, let's be realistic about things. I hope it doesn't. I hope we have a big splash about it, and you and I will get together and do a rock and Zoom call that'll probably be like a 3D type of thing by the time it comes up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Let's have lasers for sure, and smoke.
Yes. And pillows.
And tons of pillows. Yeah, and we'll do that. And we'll get to that. But I want to just yet once again underline, it wasn't laziness.
Yes, I can believe that with your energy for sure. Hey, Lawrence, I'll let you go. I got a ton of questions for you. I always do.
No, we'll do this again. I always love looking at your pictures after shows because you capture the right moments.
Thank you.
Great having a chat with you. And look, had it not been for that, that pandemic, which caused such horrible things in people's lives, if you were fortunate enough to kind of work with the technological tools like this, look how accustomed we've become to this now.
Yep.
So we'll do a part 2 on this at some point, maybe later on this year or something like that, and we'll
be great.
We'll see where things are.
Definitely. Well, you know where to find me, man. And it's always a pleasure talking to you. We love you here. Bridget and Nathaniel say hi. They miss you terribly. Yeah. So
I've seen them grow up.
Yes.
I've seen them grow up.
Yep.
I mean, that's a tremendous experience I've had in the band is seeing young people, that now quite on many nights, they comprise half the audience. People are under 40 who weren't even born when the biggest records of the classic rock era came out, and they love it. They've grown up with it, and I can see on their faces, they're not there because their parents forced them to go. They're actually there because they've discovered this music. So seeing that from the stage is it's really gratifying. So congrats, and say hello to them for me. And
I will.
You somewhere up the road, but right now I got to get on that bus because I can see them down there.
Oh boy.
And it's okay. I'm usually last aboard anyway.
I love you, Lawrence. Thank you for taking the time. We'll talk soon.
My pleasure, Scott. Cheers.
All right. Take care.
Bye now.
Yep. Bye-bye.